Hi, I'm Allie.
And I'm Becky.
We are registered dietitians that are passionate about food as medicine.
In today's video, we are going to be sharing Allie's 24-hour recall, or what she eats in a day.
Yes. So before I get into the kind of flow of my typical day, I want to unpack some of my nutritional priorities. The first thing that I make sure is a big focus of mine is that I'm eating whole, real foods. So these are single ingredients that I put together in recipes to taste delicious. If you don't know what I'm talking about, check out the video here where I identify what is a whole food and walk through the steps of considerations, like can you imagine it growing, are all of its edible parts intact, etc. So whole real foods are essential. That creates the quality. I also ensure some nutritional specific goals. I try to get 2 to 3 cups of leafy greens per day. I try to get at least a half cup of cruciferous vegetables per day and another cup and a half of vegetable intake. I often will sprinkle in some berries, and my macros break down with the priorities of about at least 70 grams of protein, somewhere between 20 to 45 grams of carbs on average, which keeps me in a state of nutritional ketosis. And then on the fat, I fluctuate between like 60 to 80 grams of fat.
All right, so let's walk through it. Let's set the stage for your day. So what does breakfast look like?
So generally I'm going to be doing an intermittent fast. So I'm going to be going 16 hours without food, and I keep my eating in an 8-hour window. So if I cut off my eating by 8:30 p.m., I won't be breaking my fast till 12:30 p.m. But in the morning, I will have a fat-fueled coffee. So I do technically like a fat and somewhat of a protein fast. It's kind of just more of a low-calorie intake. So I'll often do a blended coffee with grass-fed butter and coconut oil. I do 1 tablespoon combined of total fat. So I like to do 1 to 2 teaspoons of grass-fed butter, 1 to 2 teaspoons of coconut oil, and then I'll often add in a scoop of collagen just to get that supportive connective tissue boost, as well as working towards my protein goal. And I'll do that within 30 minutes of rise or so.
Okay, and then how long does your fast last? When do you usually break it?
So usually then I'm finding myself in clinic around noon, starting to get some hunger revving up, and I have the luxury of being able to message Brady and say, okay, I'm ready for some breakfast. Often this is going to be some form of eggs. So I might do eggs with some spinach and cheese. We might add in some microgreens. I'll often do a taco with a siete tortilla. And in the egg scramble, we always start with some veg. So often onions are going to be sauteed, maybe some jalapenos or bell pepper. If we have bacon cooked from the day before, we'll cut up some bacon into that taco, then add in 2 pasture-raised eggs. I may choose to omit the dairy or add in some cheese. I'll top it often with some avocado, cilantro, and then microgreens to get a little bit more of a boost of antioxidants.
Okay, so super simple to throw together, 5 to 15 minutes max.
Yes, and so if I know my dinner, I'll add in the taco option, which is the siete tortilla using the almond flour. There's 10 grams of carbs per tortilla. And if I know that I'm going to be doing something with like roasted sweet potatoes, or I want to have berries later in the day, then I might just do the scramble model. So that's kind of how I determine whether it's going to be a taco or a scramble. And then often in the middle of my day, around like 3 o'clock, before it's time to pick up Stella, I'm going to have a green smoothie. Sometimes I'll wait until Stella's coming home from school and we'll actually make the green smoothie together as an after school snack and an afternoon snack for me. So this would be comprised of about 2 cups of leafy greens, often lacinato kale. My most recent one, I've been adding full fat coconut milk, mango. You can actually check the video below, which shows my favorite green smoothie. I incorporate hemp seed, flax seed, and then a scoop of the grass-fed whey in there, and a little bit of ginger, about 1 inch of ginger to give it a nice zing on the palate. And that works really beautifully to get a combination of a creamy delivery. If it's a really stressful clinic day, I might try to get that in and sub swap spaces with the taco, but typically that's the flow.
Okay, so that's like a 3-4 p.m. snack. And then what are we doing for dinner?
So dinner is always looking like a protein and about 1.5 cups of often roasted vegetables. So I might be doing my bone-in skin on chicken thighs that I featured in the adrenal rehab video. These use turmeric, a bunch of herbs and seasonings and warming spices. And I will do this with braised greens and about 1 cup of roasted cauliflower. I might add some truffle salt to that or some more turmeric or curry to kind of sing to those warming flavors.
Okay, and then a typical day, I feel like you probably would also have a glass of wine.
This
right?
is true. I was just going to say that, yes. So you need some acid to cut all the warming flavors. So most days I will have a glass of wine. I really like to use the Dry Farm wines. I'll put a link below where you can save and get a bottle in your first order for just a penny. What I like about them is that they do test for toxins. They test for glyphosate, which is the Roundup residue that we can see in a lot of American wines from the agricultural chemicals. They also ensure that there's not added sugars and that the wines are lower alcohol, which means lower toxicity and lower sugar. So you get a lot of abundance flavor, a lot of the experience, that crispness to sit on the palate with food, and a great way to relax at the end of the day without, really stressing your system. So I'll often have a glass of wine with that meal. And then as a nightcap, I'll often go for a tea. I really like sleepy tea, which is a really good combination with like rooibos and lavender or rose petal. I might do bone broth if I'm feeling like I actually need a little bit more nourishment to get that more connective tissue boost and the glycine and glutamine support for my gut. So bone broth or tea. And then optional, I might do a square or two of dark chocolate. And that's a day in the life.
And it sounds like a pretty delicious day. You're getting all of your diversity of plant compounds. You're getting your protein goal for sure. I heard your 2 to 3 leafy greens come in, 2 to 3 cups of leafy greens.
Absolutely.
And our wine, of course.
Yes.
What would you do on maybe a higher calorie intake, or would there be times of the month or times of season where you would vary it up a little bit?
Yeah, it's a great question. So for women that are menstruating, during your luteal phase, often around like days 21 to 24, the calories actually rev, or you're more metabolically active. And so often I will give myself an extra 200 to 300 calories in that window. So about 5 days before my cycle starts. And that might include adding in like a nut flour muffin or the low carb chocolate chip cookies. I might add, instead of the lighter evening, actually a serving of Greek yogurt with berries and honey. And then that's not even a carb cycle day. We'll actually save that for another video coming soon where we'll talk all about carb cycling, what it is and what it looks like. But this example day that I gave, did incorporate a lot of flavor, just that 10-gram carb tortilla, the little bit of mango in the smoothie, and still keeps me well within nutritional ketosis.
So hopefully this video has been helpful in terms of putting into perspective what a ketogenic diet can look like in a typical day with that little bit of metabolic flexibility. If you liked today's video, go ahead and hit like, subscribe, and share a comment below on what sounds tasty.
Perfect!